Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It's mid-July, and we are kicking off our college football coverage right now with Troy West from allplayswin.com, taking a look at the Pac-12. Right now, we're going to look at the Pac-12 South. Troy West from allplayswin.com. How have you done historically in college football?
Very well, Pete. I would be very hard-fetched to find another handicapper that compete with what we do in college football and in the NFL. And you and I both know we specialize very, very much in the Pac-12 and the West Coast. So come take a look at allplayswin.com. Not to say that's all we cover. We cover the whole shebang. We're the best in the business, not only in winning picks, people. You're going to get great, great customer service when you come check out allplayswin.com.
All right, Troy. Well, the Pac-12 South absolutely stacked, right? Arizona won the South last year. They returned a lot of guys, including their excellent quarterback, Solomon. They are still the fourth choice to win the South right now. They're plus 600 to win the South. Arizona State, UCLA, and USC are all being given better chances to win the South. Let's first start with Arizona. Are they getting disrespected here by being made the fourth choice to win the South, or do you think those are legitimate odds?
No, they're getting disrespected, but I also do feel like they're legitimate odds. You got to understand, this Arizona team really got lucky to get where they were last year. They won a game on a Hail Mary. They won some last-minute games. Washington missed a field goal against them late. They won a lot of really close football games. Not to say they can't repeat that this year, but history will tell you that probably will not happen. Obviously, a very well-coached team in Rich Rodriguez, that our offense is going to score a lot of points. I promise you that. Do I think they're going to win this conference? No, I don't. Absolutely not. My initial thought is pay attention to the overs. This is a team that's weak defensively, but they score points in a hurry. Good quarterback in Solomon. Really good coach, offensive-minded coach in Rich Rodriguez. So I think overs are going to be a good call. Do I think they'll compete and win? Are the odds good at 600? Maybe, but I don't think they're going to win this conference.
All right, so think about overs with Arizona. Now let's jump to USC, right? They are the favorite to win the Pac-12 South. They're plus 130 right now at 5 dimes. Win total for the season is 9, over at minus 115. And, over the rankings that I've read, have them with the tied with Alabama for the top draft class in the country. They're right now about 5th or 6th, the 5th or 6th choice to win the championship. They're like the 5th or 6th choice to get into the Final Four of the playoffs. And the question, we have seen, though, USC underwhelmed significantly in years past when they've been highly ranked, highly rated. What do you expect from USC this year?
I think they're going to be outstanding, Pete. I really do. But this, like you said, this is a USC team that always seems to have 1 or 2 games that they just don't show up. Last year it was Boston College, for example. They go on the road to Boston College and lose the football game. They had several of those games where you're just kind of scratching your head and going, this team just didn't even show up. This is a really well-coached football team. This is Coach Sarkisian's next second year. I think he's going to have a really an improved season with him. He's one of the better football coaches in college football. They got an outstanding defensive coordinator, Justin Wilcox. And then they got a quarterback, Cody Kessler. This kid is outstanding. Yeah. His touchdown to interception ratio is good as anybody's in college football. You get another year under his belt, brings back a lot of his weapons at wide receiver, good offensive line, good defense. This is going to be a really good team. They're probably my pick to win the Pac-12 South.
I mean, it's going to be hard for USC to outplay their expectations, since their expectations are so high for this year. They could easily, though, underwhelm a little bit. In terms of spreads, what do you anticipate with them? Do you think they're going to be overvalued, or do you think they're going to be about 50-50 ATS? It's hard to imagine. I mean, there's so much hype surrounding this team this year. It's hard to imagine, for me to imagine them being a winning team against the spread, but maybe they will be. What do you think?
Yeah, I think overall ATS that they probably will finish on the winning end. I really do. I think they may be overvalued in some spots, but this is, like you said, Pete, you said at the beginning of the call, this is a really, really competitive conference. I mean, you look at a team as good as Utah being buried back in the 5th, 6th spot. This is a team that beat USC last year. This is a really competitive conference. They can, any given day, any given game on the road, they can get beat up. Absolutely. So they're not going to walk through this conference and go undefeated. So you got to pick your spots with them. I think they may be overvalued ATS at times, but overall, if you pick your spots, USC could be a great bet this year.
All right, and then UCLA is a very interesting team, right? They're the second choice to win the Pac-12 South. They're plus 320 right now at 5 dimes. Win total is 9, plus 110 on the over, and they have very high expectations as well, and warranted. They look super strong all over the field. The one question mark, which might also be a big strength, is at quarterback, right? They're starting that guy Rosen, who's got a ton of upside in terms of talent, but he is a true freshman. But if the true freshman thing winds up not mattering much, this team could be better than USC, right?
This team's going to be really, really good. They've done an outstanding job. Coach Mora, one of the best recruiters in the country. brought in a lot of talent again. I'm told, and I've heard that the QB, competition is going to be there. Neuheisel, we know Rick Neuheisel, his son's going to be right in the mix. This is a guy that got a start last year against Texas and actually looked really, really good. But anytime you lose a guy like Brett Hundley, Pete, that was a guy that really had that team going over the last couple of years, not just the 1 year. When you lose a guy like that, you got to think you're going to have a little bit of drop-off in offensive production. But again, this team's great up front. Good running game, good defense. They will compete. Coach Mora, again, one of the better coaches in the country. Don't expect much of a drop-off from UCLA. They'll be right in the mix.
So when UCLA and USC play at the end of the year, I mean, obviously we'll have a ton more information, but as things stand right now, which team do you think will be more undervalued on the spread? Do you think that UCLA might wind up being the good bet in that game?
Going into it now, yes, I would say UCLA, but we'll see, like you said, Pete, when it comes a little bit closer to that time, where we're at in terms of depth chart, injuries, and how the production. Both teams had outstanding draft classes. Let's see how some of these freshmen play out in the beginning of the year.
All right, and then Arizona State, another talented team, right? They've got a new quarterback who's first year starting, but he's a senior, and he did well in his limited time last year. And Arizona State is right now plus 450 to win the Pac-12 South. Win total is 8.5. The over is plus 130. Obviously, this is an awesome team, but obviously they're going to be playing a lot of tough games this year. Another great team in the mix. What's your take on Arizona State?
Arizona State's going to be really good as well. A lot of the predictions and pools that I've seen actually have them winning this conference. So. Not my initial prediction, but this is a good football team. You look at the way they finished off last year, outstanding. They lose Jalen Strong. That's going to hurt them a little bit. That was their offensive playmaker throughout the course of the year, a guy that you really could depend on to just throw the deep ball to, or anytime you needed a big play, you just go to Jalen Strong. They don't necessarily have that. They do got to replace it, but a good overall football team, offensively, defensively, and special teams, a well-coached football team. I think, Arizona State will be right in the mix. We look at the way they finished the year last year, knocking off Duke in that bowl game. This is a good football team. Not a lot of drop-off, but they do need to replace a big playmaker in Jalen Strong.
And then Utah and Colorado round out the Pac-12 and South, and even Colorado might be a little bit improved from last year. And last year, they were winless in the Pac-12, but they did have 2 games where they were a 2-touchdown underdog that went to overtime, so they can definitely steal a game. They're capable of stealing a game anywhere, at home, on the road, against anyone. And Utah, I've seen some of their early spreads. At 5 Dimes, they released an early spread with the UCLA game. Utah's just a 1-point home underdog against UCLA, and they're favored by 3 at home against Arizona State. So I don't know if those odds will hold, but Utah's already getting a lot of respect on the spreads. What's your take on either of those teams, Troy?
Yeah, Utah, they've been predicted to be in the bottom half of this conference. They are a really well-coached football team, and you got to remember, they got a great running back, Devontae Booker, one of the better running backs in all of college football, and he's running behind a great offensive line. This is a team that can really grind and pound the football. A running quarterback, they really developed an offense to be able to run, and play good defense. And they're, again, one of the toughest places to play in college football is Utah. They've got a great opening matchup against Michigan. I couldn't be more excited for that football game. I'm sure we'll break down that video later on. But this is a good Utah team. They're predicted at the bottom of the conference. But look for a lot of, like you said, Pete, home underdog. Look for that value, small spreads at home. They're going to be a tough team to beat.
Yeah, I mean, in that Michigan game, again, we don't know what the closing line will be, but 5 Dimes released an early line on that one, Utah -5. So they're getting a lot of respect. They're not going to be even a small favorite in that game. So maybe Utah won't have, last year they had a lot of value on the road. They covered, I think they were 5-1 against the spread on the road. At home, they were just 3-3 against the spread.
We'll see. That'd be interesting. I think, I would look more at the unders in these Utah games. I think their defense will be really good. And like I said, they're going to try to run the football 35 times a game. So they're going to manage a lot of clock, try to keep games close. So my initial thought would be unders, and then Utah, I think, will be a decent bet at home as well.
All right. Troy West's website is allplayswin.com. Awesome thoughts as always, Troy. We'll talk to you again very soon.